Well, hey there, gang. It is so great to see all of your wonderful faces. I'm just kidding, I'm talking to a camera. But really, did you do something different? Because you are looking good. I hope everybody out there is engaged in that old radical self-care, which, as we all know, means doing the stuff we don't want to do. Keep that in mind as we're watching today. Let's play some head games. Friends, opponents, medievalists, and LARP enthusiasts, you know who you are. Welcome to Head Games. My name is Jetterex, and today, as we make our way around the two color combinations in Standard, we are going to be diving into Izzet. For the uninitiated, this is blue and red. This is also an aggro deck, so we're getting out of our comfort zone today and doing something very different than what yours truly normally does. And we're playing a deck built around the two card combination of Proft's Eidetic Memory and Slickshot Showoff. So we're calling this one Proft's a Showoff. Not really a combo per se, just a really strong synergy of cards that create evasive creatures that can do a lot of damage that scale very quickly. Proft's Eidetic Memory is a blue enchantment, draws a card when it enters, makes it so you have no maximum hand size, which is almost never relevant, but then at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you've drawn more than one card, you put counters on target creature equal to the number of extra cards. So your first card draw doesn't do it, but everyone after that does. So basically, if you have a nice flying evasive creature, it will get a lot of counters on it, get really big really quickly, and hopefully kill your opponent before they can set up or do anything else. Add to that a bunch of evasive flyers. So we've got Slickshot Showoff that gets bigger when you cast non-creature spells, Ledger Shredder, which draws cards if you cast more than 2 spells each turn, 2 or more spells each turn, Duelist of the Mind, which when you commit a crime draws you an additional card, but also scales with the number of cards. So Duelist of the Mind, no slouch, along with Proft's Eidetic Memory, kind of doing a little double damage duty. So to round out the deck, lots of cards that draw cards, lots of cards that do damage and deal with your opponent's threats, lots of cards that pump your creatures. This plays a lot like the mono red deck that's so popular in Standard right now, with Ancestral Anger, Monstrous Rage, Play with Fire, all these fantastic red 1-drops that just do very meaningful things in the meta. Couple of Fading Hopes to get rid of the largest threats, to get them out of the way, your Sheoldreds and such. Consider just as a very cheap card draw. Rounding it out, we've got Slick Sequence, which can do damage and draw a card. Up here in the 3-drop spot, the top of the curve in this very inexpensive deck. Steam's Core Scholar draws 2 cards on enter when it enters, and with this deck everything flies and almost everything else is instant or sorcery. Chances are you're usually getting a draw 2 ditch 1 when it comes to Steam Core Scholar here. So this works very well with Proft's Eidetic Memory. It works very well with all these other things that trigger on card drawing. Couple of cases of the Crimson Pulse just to kind of get you some late game value if you end up empty handed. So that is the deck, not a lot to it. Put flying creatures on the board, make those flying creatures big, and hopefully kill your opponent before they have time to do anything else. So let's see how big of a show-off the Proft really is. The Bay View. I was just at a river. It wasn't really a bay, but I could see the water. Alright, Bayview, what are you doing? What are we doing? So we've got a couple Duelists of the Mind. Play with Fire works very well against that. We can set up Slickshot Showoff. And we are on the play. I think this is probably worth keeping. It's not incredibly explosive, but... So just lead with the Spire Bluff. I don't think we're going to deploy this Play with Fire because it gets us a draw ditch off a Duelist later on, so I think we're going to hold off on that. Instead, we're going to play our second land, and we're going to plot the Slick Shot. Okay, terrific. Alright, so let's play our land. Let's play Ledger Shredder first. Play Slick Shot. What are we going to discard? I'm really tempted to discard one of the Duelists. I think that's right. Okay, here comes Slick Shot. We'll take the extra damage if we can get it. I think they probably have a removal spell for Slick Shot. There it is. Alright, so we're playing against Domain, against Leyline Binding. I'll take that. I mean, because I can double spell this turn, so I can draw, you know, I can get through a fair amount of cards here. So let's play Stormcarved Coast. Let's play Duelist of the Mind. They've got another Leyline Binding. Maybe not. Maybe they've got the, we're going to go ahead and deploy Highway Robbery. I think I am going to pitch this to get the extra counter. Yeah, I thought maybe. Herd Migration gains them a little life. We are going to discard a card. Draw 2 more. Get in for 3. Oh no. Getting a little glitchy. So this is a tough matchup for an aggro deck such as this. The Domain deck is built to try to stall their opponent until they get to a board stabilizer, like something that destroys all the creatures. They are cycling, which feels desperate. Okay, we're going to have a big turn here. I'm trying to decide if this Slick sequence, or if this Slick sequence should be saved for anything. I don't think they have any creatures small enough to be killed by it, so I don't think we're going to do that. We are going to play Proft Memory. It doesn't look it's pausing for them at all, so I think what's... Alright, now I'm reconsidering, because I can draw an extra card. So we're going to consider. We're going to toss the... Oh, that's tough. Yeah, we toss the Slick sequence. Okay, tossing the Slick sequence. Leaving the Slick Shot. Binning the Slick Shot. I think we bin it. No, we need another threat if they wipe the board. Okay. Play with fire. Damage to them. That's going to draw Ditch again. This time I think we can just pitch a land. I think we keep that as well. Alright. Now, this puts 4 counters on something. I think it's Duelist. 13 damage is a lot. Do they have a board wipe? Temporary lockdown. Okay. I think we're okay. I think we... Unless they have an instant speed removal spell, I think we still win. So Slick Shot Showoff. Proft Memory. Good game. Oof. This deck is fast. Danielle. Okay. We've got threats, we've got the eidetic memory, we've got stuff to do with it. This is probably fine, we can keep this. It's a little slow, I think. Because we have to like put a threat out on turn 2 and hope that it lives, but we'll see. Alright, so Danielle's clearly a horse girl. She brought along her pony. There it is. We're gonna call you... Patches? Yeah. Danielle's horse's name is Patches. Alright, let's go. That land comes in tapped. What's Danielle doing? Playing white cards. Ruin Lurker Bat. It's a life-linking flyer. Okay, so we lead with Ledger Shredder instead of Duelist because it can kill that if it attacks. So let's see what they're doing. I don't really know what decks are playing that card regularly. I suppose maybe it's a life gain deck. All right, so we're doing fine here. We play Proft Eidetic Memory. So I can play Monstrous Rage, but Ledger Shredder gets less counters if I do that. And Monstrous Rage also gets me damage through later. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to pitch... I think it's Duelist. We will leave the land on top. That's a big Ledger Shredder. What do you got? No blocks for Danielle. That's a cool sleeve. Look at this lizard monster with all those glasses on top of it. It's a lizard scientist. All right, they've got their black mana available now. Here's Gix. Okay. That's an excellent draw. That's an excellent draw. Okay. Land for turn. Highway robbery. I really feel like I could sacrifice a land here. What am I pitching? I don't want to pitch the Steam Core Scholar because it really like does some important stuff later. Am I sacrificing a land here? Let's try it. Terrible. Okay. Consider. We'll pitch a Slick Shot Showoff. Put another counter on there. I mean, I guess that's fine. It comes in tapped. Nope. Let's try for better. Untap land? Not an untap land. 4 more counters on Ledger Shredder. It comes in for 10. Oof. I've got Slick Shot Showoff and Monstrous Rage for the next turn, so there's a lot of ways we win here. They swing with both. We Fading Hope Gix and put it back in their hand, so they don't get to draw more cards. I think we're actually going to put that on the bottom. We would love to draw an untapped land. That makes our next turn even more explosive. So they need to remove the Ledger Shredder and mount a defense against us. That's a defense. What else you got? I'm sorry, friend, but I don't think that does it. You're about to see that we have a Monstrous Rage in our hand. And that's it. Good game. Girth-tastic. Oh, I see what you did there. Okay, we've got a threat, a couple Monstrous Rages, a play with fire. The mana's not great, but I think we're okay. What's crazy about this deck is I really feel like it's so fast and it's going to win fast or lose fast that if I'm only playing for an hour, I might get an enormous amount of games in. So this might be a short video, y'all. Yeah, this is a keep. Were we on the play too? It's like My Little Pony Day. Look at this. Buttercup? That's apple pie. I don't know. I'm not a brony. I have no idea. Okay, starting with a tap land gives us good mana for the remainder of the turns. Probably have to just play Otawara as a normal land. Tri-land means probably Domain again. Are people just trying to play this deck before it rotates? We'll play Duelist of the Mind. Up the beanstalk. So that's going to draw them a lot of cards, so I'm probably in a fair amount of trouble. Alright, so pump Duelist. Pump Duelist. Get in for 6. high likelihood they're going to have a board wiper removal spell pretty quickly, so if they remove my threat, I'm in a world of trouble. I do have case, so I get to draw a fair amount of cards next turn. Okay. So I think we play the Shivan Reef. We will play Case of Crimson Pulse. They've got something. It's probably discarding that green spell to gain 3 life. Okay. Let's find out if they want to remove my duelist. Oh, is this a sorcery? Boy, I played that wrong. I think I have to put the damage through where I can. This is where they remove it. Do you have a removal spell? They don't. Okay. There's a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of hope. What are you waiting for? You're gonna besiege you the case. Okay. Let's get another land. Let's get a red land. I mean, I don't have any other targets for Beseiju, so at least not really. That's not true. I have Proft's Eidetic Memory. They haven't seen it yet. Oh, they're done. It depends a lot on what I draw. But if that's all they're doing this turn, can I cobble together 8 damage? It depends a lot on what I draw. I don't have it in my hand, but who would have thought that an Izzet deck, a blue-red deck, would be so math intensive? Okay, Monstrous Rage does it. That's not even a question. Okay, play with fire in your face. Trigger Duelist. Take action. Draw the card. Discard this land. Sure. Ancestral Anger. Pump it again. And swing in for the win! Yeah! Luis Antonio, 1984. Big Brother is watching. Alright, no creatures in our hand. We got a couple of redraws though. Tap land to start. I don't hate this, but there's like really... I'm gonna keep it because we're on the draw, so if our opponent's playing really good aggro, we're gonna have a hard time, but we'll start with this tap land. What an interesting combination. Tiny Bone Sleeves, Vampire Face, Grixis Mana. What are you doing over there, friendo? So let's play an island and get the Eidetic Memory down. They might counter this if they have counters. This is what the deck does, so no one would blame you, Louis. Siphon Insight. Boy, I haven't seen that card in a minute. So they're going to steal a card from our library and keep it in their exile zone so they can cast it later. So if they get a pump spell, it's probably meaningless to them. If they get anything but a creature, it's probably meaningless to them. Just to put it out there. My own removal spells don't work against my creatures. Oh, they responded to Proft's Eidetic Memory with that. That's an interesting choice. Okay, so we are going to play an untapped land and try to resolve Steam Core Scholar. Here comes a removal spell. Going for that throat. Okay, yeah, we'll pitch a consider. What do you take? The case, probably. Did our opponent not get a card from their first Siphon Insight? They took the Consider. Okay. We are going to play a Restless Spire tapped and play a Case of the Crimson Pulse. They almost certainly have no way to deal with enchantments other than countering them. So the fact that I have this Eidetic Memory on the field means I can get rid of the other one. It's the card I will discard if Case resolves. If they want to counter it, they can. Siphon Insight. So did they misclick or something? Am I crazy? Oh, they took a land. They took my Spire Bluff Canal. Okay, I am discarding this other Eidetic Memory. Still need a creature. So now they're playing my Eidetic Memory. Drawing a card. I will play an untapped land. I play another Case, right? Like, that's the move here. Because we're just going to try to set up a, like, incredibly explosive turn. I actually think we're going to pitch the Ancestral Anger here. Okay. I played a land already, so I'm gonna pass. This is a very strange game. Like, we are 100% going for just an explosive turn. We really need to see Slick Shot Showoffs here. Okay. I'm torn. Like, do I keep the Considers for big pumpage later? I don't think so. I think I need to dig for a creature. Yeah, that Ancestral Anger can go in the graveyard. There's a Ledger Shredder. Okay. Play our land for turn. Play Ledger Shredder. Play Highway Robbery. Pitch this other Eidetic Memory. I'm going to sacrifice a land. Okay. They're probably going to kill the Ledger Shredder. No question. Probably going to kill the Ledger Shredder. So I think I just let it go at this point. I think I have to. That's why I'm saying I really need the Slick Shots, because they're going to come in and do an enormous amount of damage with haste. Okay. It feels like a really easy choice to kill my creature at this point, so that's what they're doing. Okay. Then you may discard 2 cards. If you do damage. So the question is, do they have a 7 damage spell in their hand? I'm gonna say they don't. You don't have a 7 mana hand, or you don't have a 7 damage hand or spell. Let's see it. Do you? Oh, I thought I saw it. What was it? Decadent Dragon. Man, this card is super cool, and I can't wait for it to do good things in Standard. Super cool. Yeah, you can just let that. So here's the thing. If they cast another spell, Ledger Shredder activates. So if they are trying to kill it with Lightning Strike, they're going to fail. Okay. Well, that's gonna kill it. I kind of feel like letting them have that. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. We're just attacking with our lands here. We don't need more land. We do need more threats, although that one's kind of lackluster. It feels like they have a 1-mana removal spell, but apparently they don't. What are you sitting on that's holding priority? For those not familiar with the game, it usually works unless you have the settings changed, that it only kind of pauses for you to do stuff when you have something that you can potentially do. So they had 1 mana available when I was attacking with those creatures, so it kind of felt like they had something they could cast. It's not always necessarily the case. Do they don't have any creature lands. Okay. So we're going to cast Duelist of the Mind. We're going to activate one of these Restless Spires. And we are going to attack. Holding a removal spell. Do I want to save that? I think I kind of don't. So it can save itself. It can tap for a blue. I am going to save it. So this is what I'm talking about. If they didn't have anything that they could cast, it would move right into the next thing. But they have something they can task. They're trying to figure out if they want to or not. I mean, I'll keep the threat. I really wish it were a slick shot Showoff, but it is not. They paid 3 life for that, so we'll just take that. Removal spell for Duelist. Here it comes. Here I said all the games were going to be fast. Not this one. We are taking our time, me and Louis. Excellent. Gain 4 life. I mean, the problem we're going to run into is that as long as we are playing this, try to get a creature down and keep it on the board for a turn, as long as we're playing that game, they're going to win. So we'll replay the Restless Spire. We'll get Ledger Shredder out. What do you got there, buddy? Just gonna counter Ledger Shredder. Sure. And they left mana open. Yeah, I'm gonna get in with the Spire. Yeah. Congratulations, your Go for the Throat turned into a land destruction spell. They're down to 3 cards. Drawing cards. No reason to discard. Got another land. What are they doing? They haven't advanced their plan at all. So we're just gonna keep deploying our creature lands until they kill them all, which they inevitably will. Yep. I never expected a game with this deck to go like this. Just sitting around, waiting for our opponent to make a game plan. Sure. Okay. Playing our own cards against us. So yeah, we have to destroy that before it gets the counters from my prosthetic memory. It seems that their game plan is play our cards. Yeah, we're done holding stuff up. We are done holding stuff up. Steam Core Scholar? Boy, that's tough. I don't really want to pitch a Monstrous Rage because I kind of desperately need it to win with this like shot Showoff. So we're going to pitch the Duelist. We will play a land. We'll go to combat and put counters on this. Do you have another removal spell? 4th Go for the Throat? We've got 3 in the graveyard. Do you have the 4th one? Fires of Victory. So I can save it with Monstrous Rage, right? Okay. I mean, they're just going to keep drawing removal spells, so I have to... And honestly, if I get empty-handed, these cases are going to, like, immediately start digging through my library. They've got all the mana in the world. I'm really waiting for some miraculously gigantic spell for them to cast. Like, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Tap land that they could have cycled but didn't. That is not a card draw spell, so that works very poorly. Okay, land, Slick Shot. Move to combat. Get it in. That is correct, friend. Monstrous Rage on Slick Shot. Gets a little bit bigger. Removal spell for Steam Core. Okay. Our opponent, both of our cases of the Crimson Pulse just activated. We've only seen one Slick Shot, which means there are 3 more in our deck. 3 more. Our opponent has 1 card left. Draws their card for turn. Hold on to your butts. What did you draw? Louise. Oh my god, they just stole 8 cards from me. That really was an outrageous robbery. Why did they do it then? Okay, here we go. Okay. Slick Shot. Slick Shot. Highway robbery. I drew 6 cards. Oh my god. Wow. Oh, good game, buddy. Budkin. Your friend and your family. It's your bud and your kin. Okay. This is fine. Good mana. Removal spell on the first turn if we need it. Duelist of the Mind into some other stuff. I mean, we don't have the enchantment, but I still think it's worth working with. Our opponent has a hammer. Old Budkin. Okay. Just play a land and say go. Are we seeing mono red for the first time? Good news is the Duelist of the Mind cannot be killed by a 1 mana red spell. So, or at least not one that I am aware of. Because they're probably playing Play with Fire. And that is not enough to kill it. And if I untap with it, they're in trouble. Epicure, red-black land. Okay, lots of stuff, lots of options here. So I can have an incredibly explosive turn next turn, which I absolutely think is the way to go here. So I am going to play my land. I am going to plot the Slick Shot. Showoff. Ancestral Anger draws me a card and lets me get in for 3 with the Duelist and replaces itself. I think that that is the move here. Okay. So if they take the turn off to deal with the Duelist, I get to double Slick Shot with Monstrous Rage. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I draw an untapped land that's red, it's a lot. Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay. I am conflicted. So I mean, there's a very real chance that they have enough removal spells in their hand that they actually just deal with both slick shots in one turn. So I think I duelist. I play this slick shot. I play with fire the Blood Tithe Harvester. This is where I'm probably not the most skillful with that deck. I'm not sure that that was right. Should I have pointed the 2 damage at their face and just tried very hard to get them to a low total as fast as possible? It's possible they don't have more removal spells, or certainly not cheap enough removal spells to make it worthwhile. Honestly, Experimental Synthesizer and Oni Call to Anvil are... I'm not even remotely afraid of either of those cards. Okay, they hit their land drop. They've got Brawn. Okay. That is not really good. It's just really not. Okay, I'm gonna plot this one. Get in for one with the duelist. And say go. Synthesizer again. Let's hope they don't hit a removal spell. Just a land is fine. What else we got? Down to 2 cards. Epicures, just a creature and another artifact. Not great for our opponent. Are they going to try to bluff an attack? I will actually let it through because the danger of them possibly having something that kills the duelist at this point, it's just not worth it. I'll take the 3. What's the best draw? Something that draws me cards. Prosthetic Memory doesn't feel bad here. 3rd Monstrous Rage. Okay, do I just win here? This is a 1/2. Each one of these gives it +4/+4. So, and each one of these also. Okay, Slick Shot. Monstrous Rage the Slick Shot. So they've got these artifacts that they can sacrifice that is holding the priority here. I don't think they've got a removal spell. I do have an answer. It was a removal spell. That's wild. Okay, so they have to kill both of my creatures? What is that? Another Vampire's Vengeance. Okay, so did they get the brand trigger for that? They don't. So yeah, this game is over. No blocks. You may have that free damage. Yep. Another duelist. Monstrous Rage on this duelist. And swing in for lethal. My budkin. Good game. Lockdown. It's a character from Diablo. Or maybe a place. It's probably also a real thing or a real place. My nerd self over here being like, is that from a video game? Yeah, but it's also probably from a real thing. I'm on the draw. This hand actually doesn't do very much. I mean, there's good mana and everything, but I'm gonna ship this. I like this way more. Okay, so Eidetic Memory into Scholar is pretty bananas. So we're going to keep 6, and I think we're actually going to tuck the Fading Hope. Our opponent is a member of the Church of Squee. So we'll start with a tap land. They will blast us in the face for 2 damage. Here it comes. Here it comes. No? What are you holding priority for? What are you doing? Okay, so here it is. We've been waiting to play against another aggro deck, right? Can we hold up against them? So we're gonna find out. We're gonna Proft Eidetic Memory, draw our additional card. Next turn we get to Steam Core Scholar, and if they don't deal with it, I'm gonna have a 4/4 flyer. I'm gonna have a Sarah Angel on turn 3. Okay, 3 more damage from your big old creatures. Here we go. Steam Core Scholar. Draw, draw. I do not want to pitch a Showoff, but I think it's correct because I want these other cards. So if they throw a whole lot of burn spells at the Steam Core Scholar, then we're going to have a harder time next turn. If they don't do that, I'm going to do an enormous amount of damage to them on the crackback. Like if they try to swing in and just pump their creatures, I take it and see if I can swing back for lethal. I don't think I have lethal per se. Okay, I have 4. Slick Shot starts at 1. Monstrous Rage makes it huge. Ancestral Anger draws another card, so that's good for another damage. They are plotting, and they are doing nothing. Okay. Okay. Well, because they're trying to do the same thing, but I'm going to get in a pretty enormous amount of damage before they get to do that. Land first. I could also play the Duelist. I don't have anything that targets their creatures, though, so I'm not drawing more cards by playing the Duelist. Let's be aggressive. Let's be aggressive. Here's our Slick Shot Showoff. We're going to cast Ancestral Anger on it. And then we're going to do it on this. Then we're going to put counters on this. And we're going to swing in for 14. And we're going to say go. Can they get 16 damage? Alright, here's their Ruckus. I can't block them because both of their creatures are going to have Menace. They might be able to do it. Here we go. They got us. Just like that. Koala, but I feel like it's a kind of soda or a very fuzzy teddy bear. Okay, this hand does nothing and I'm on the draw, so I have to mulligan this. All right, this is a little better, and I guess we can just ship one of these lands. It's a bad hand, but we're gonna stick with it. Our opponent has beautiful psychedelic elephant sleeves, so they're probably playing a really peaceful, non-aggressive deck. Might be life gain, who knows. We'll play a Shivan Reef and wish we had lands that didn't hurt us. I think I'm going to let them hit us, and I think I'm going to Fading Hope that on their end step so that they can't recast it. I take a consider, right? It's just not good enough. I need some action. Like, it's a card draw, sure, but I need some action. Okay. We're going on the aggressive. See, our problem is if our opponent gets to cast the Lunarch Veteran and they follow up with Amalia, here comes. Alas, Elcor is fine. I don't love them gaining life. That's still very problematic, but Steam Core draws some cards. Maybe get us out of this. Okay, so what am I pitching? Am I pitching the other Steam Core? I think it has pretty significantly low. Well, we do get to look at a lot of cards. Next turn I can Slick Shot Showoff, and I can Slick Sequence one of their creatures. So that draws me some more cards. This is tough. I think I'm going to pitch the Ancestral Anger because it's not doing an enormous... Scholar, here we go. Alright, so they've got double life gain on creature ETB now. So they have a lot of really good options. Okay, Inspiring Overseer actually doesn't do a very good job for them right now. 1 white mana showing. Okay, so this triggers if you've cast another spell this turn. So second Slick Shot, Slick Sequence, trigger both Slick Shots. That's a fair amount of damage. I'm waiting to see one of their payoffs. Steel Seraph does not do it, I'm afraid. You trying to gain life here, buddy? Do I trade the Steam Core? I think I do. Okay. Yeah, I can do all three, so... Yeah, that's fine. Highway Robbery. We're gonna discard this land. Proft's Eidetic Memory is good, but we can use it next turn. It's totally okay to do that. Fading Hope this. Yes. Hang on. So this is 2 more for each of them. So that's 7, and then Play with Fire puts them at like 2. Do I go face? Ugh, I'm gonna keep the Play with Fire. I'm going to Ancestral Anger one of them. That's 15. If they hadn't gained all that life, they'd already be dead. Pretty impressive to dominate a life gain deck like this. In fairness, they didn't draw any of their payoffs. If they'd have drawn a Voice of the Blessed or an Amalia, this would have been a very different game. Amazing. Okay. I think they still lose, but... because it doesn't matter which card they pick. Either of these 2 combinations of cards allows me to get the Slick Shots up to 6 damage. So that is game. We're just waiting for our opponent to realize it. Okay, there it is. We will Proft Eidetic Memory. And we are going to spare our opponent a long death. What a good sport, Koala. We would hug you. But you probably would infect us with something. All right, my friends and opponents, what did we learn today? Well, we may have learned that this is why people play aggro, is that you can win a whole bunch of games very quickly in a short amount of time. Now, obviously, that's not always the case, but best of one format is definitely skewed towards aggressive builds. If they draw well and play well, as we saw several times, they can win very, very quickly. This deck has the capacity to kind of win out of nowhere, to not necessarily look like it's in an advanced position, but then to just come from behind and immediately do an enormous amount of damage. So we learned what everybody already knew, which is this card, Slick Shot Showoff, is incredibly good. It is it might be too good. It is wildly powerful. Things that are going to do 2 damage to kill this creature are going to be very important to be able to deal with this moving forward. I think we found that, you know, things like cut down are not necessarily as good against this if the person has multiple spells in their hand. We also learned that Proft's eidetic memory can create an enormous amount of damage, especially late in the game. We saw that one game where I was able to resolve 2 different cases of the Crimson Pulse and solve both of them. So I drew 4 cards at the beginning of my turn, 4 additional cards, and then I also drew 2 cards off of a highway robbery. So the one creature that I had on board got a +6/+6 in addition to the extra bonuses. I actually thought I was going to lose that game because I didn't think I'd put through enough damage, but Proft's eidetic memory came through in the pinch. So blue-red, if you're into aggro, into, you know, playing creatures that you're going to pump up really quick, I think that this is a pretty good option. It is a little bit, I think, trickier to play against than perhaps the Gruul build or even the mono-red build. The mono-red build, the one really big downside to it is that people are very aware of it and they are practiced at playing against it. So that is something to consider. So blue-red, Proft's a Showoff. Give it a try. We played 7 games today and won 6 of them. It's a pretty fantastic record, 6-1. So I do recommend, if you have these cards, you know, put them to good use. This is not a particularly rare heavy deck either. So this is, you know, and you could use more basics and probably still get away with playing this build. So great deck, had a lot of fun. Thank you all very much for watching all the other videos that have come up with that have come out recently. Again, I'm JetterX here for Head Games Arena. That's it for today. Thanks again for watching. Take care of yourselves out there. We'll see you next time.